Turning, the wheels are turning. We are live on YouTube right now.
Live.
6 p.m. Saturday night. It's October 27th, almost November already.
Get close.
Join us now. Okay, so in August, we went to Austin,
Yes.
Texas for the opening of the Crowded Barrel distillery.
Matt.
We met Matt. We'll just call him Matt. Matt Z.
Matt the King.
The Z.
Yes.
And Matt had come down for the grand opening as well. He was staying in the, was it LaQuinta?
LaQuinta, and helped turn LaQuinta into one of the best hotels I've ever been in my life.
It was, yeah.
We'll talk more about that.
5-star. I've heard it's 5 stars.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Well, their whiskey selection was some of the best in the world.
An outstanding whiskey selection that weekend at the LaQuinta.
Right.
Courtesy of Matt. So we met Matt, Matt Z from Dallas. Matt says, I'm having a tasting on October 27th with Westland and Bruichladdich. Would you guys like to live stream it?
And a little squeal came out.
Yeah,
it
did.
Yeah, I was like, what?
So joining us now from Dallas, Matt's house. Matt's house. Oh wait, you don't have, probably don't. It's probably not your basement. You don't have basements in Texas, do you?
This is the upstairs.
Wow.
So, on the right is Matt. Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then just work to the left and come down and tell everybody who you guys are.
You're right.
Right, left. It is right. That is right.
That's correct.
Our left.
Yes.
We're not even one in, you guys. We gotta.
That's what we do. We'll do that when we wake up.
Well, Matt, I met Justin and Erica over at Mirage Fine Spirits in Colleyville. We're just the manager there's William. He said, I need you to stay for 20 extra minutes. I need you to meet these people. I'm like, okay. So I met the two of them. We hanging out for like 2 hours trying whiskey. Yep. It's a great time, but I have the second largest collection in the state of Texas. And there's a little over 1,300 different whiskeys here you can try, and having a great time. And turn over to Erica.
Hi, guys. I am Erica Beindorf. I'm the national ambassador for Bruichladdich Distillery and Westland Distillery.
And my name's Justin Riggs. Westland and Bruichladdich is owned by Remy Cointreau, who we both work for. And I've got the North Texas area in Oklahoma.
Beautiful.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming on. I literally am thrilled. I mean, Bruichladdich is one of my favorites. The Islay, everything they're doing there, they're peated, they're unpeated. And then, I don't know, what was it, about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, the first time I actually got to try Westland. And then I ordered a bottle from Caskers and got it in. And then quickly it went to the sherried and the peated bottle as well. I mean,
I don't think it'd been that long. I don't think
it's not that long. Might have been the first time I had it, though. It was about, maybe a year ago.
Oh, yeah, with a Single Cask Nation.
Right.
Yeah, that was the first one I had as well.
Yep. Yeah, Single Cask Nation and what they were doing was kind of the first time I was able to get a hold of some of the spirit.
Yeah, they're good partners, if you will, of ours. I know the guys there pretty well as well. So, yep. Yeah,
they're awesome. We've had them on the show too.
I wanted to say hi to everybody that's tuning in. We'll try to keep up with the comments. We'll be focusing though on the talk coming from Justin and Erica, both from Dallas. But also let you guys know, sometimes we get donations that come in through the chat. That's called a super chat. And we do cowbell. When we get the super
always
chat,
need more cowbell.
Yeah. So if you hear a cowbell, it's because we got a super chat come in.
Yeah, that's what's going on there. Will Ferrell-esque.
I have a ham horn and all that on my phone, so I'm happy to join right in. So
perfect.
Well, and one question I saw up a little bit ago, someone had asked what we were warming up with, and I believe we all have the American Oak in our glasses. So,
well, baby.
Yeah, let's start there. Tell us about the American Oak.
Yeah, so I can give a little background if that's cool with everybody of Westland, kind of who we are and foundation, all that, and then we'll dive right into American Oak. So we are an American single malt, as many people are either looking us up or figuring us out. We are part of now over 100 distilleries that are making American single malts. Essentially, when we started our commission back a couple of years ago, more than that, there was only 30 that signed on. So it really just shows how much it's grown in the last few years, and that it's actually a huge rise on American single malts, which is really exciting for us. I think there's roughly about 75 distilleries in Scotland. So in perspective, it really shows that we're hitting it hard. So Westland for us, we are out of the Pacific Northwest, predominantly Seattle, Washington. And we've been distilling since 2010. Our master distiller, Matt Hoffman, has been distilling with us from the very, very beginning. Alongside of that, he essentially almost turned 21 right along the side of us opening our distillery. So we waited for him to turn 21 for that to actually be a thing. Matt's a unique character. We have tons of stories about him. Some I'll edit for the video. And one I will bring up, I guess, was when he was 7 years old. Wrote a letter to McDonald's about how there are other cheeses there are for, you know, that they can utilize for their Happy Meals and Big Mats and all that. And so why on earth would they use American cheese? There's just so many other cheeses. So wrote corporate at 7 years old because he just was obsessed with taste and flavors and all of that. So that kind of shows you a little bit about who Matt is and really cares a lot about what we're doing. So our foundation as a distillery, we really believe a lot of terroir, which I'll probably bring up multiple times. Bruichladdich talks a lot about terroir. It's a very French term, but really it's just more about provenance and everything we have kind of going on as a distillery around us. Corn essentially doesn't grow really well in the Pacific Northwest. Of what does grow, if anything, we wouldn't be distilling it. What really grows well, though, is malt. So we're utilizing about 80% in that bottle right in front of you from Pacific Northwest malts. The other malts that we're utilizing are going to be roasted malts and stuff from overseas. And the only reason why we're doing it that way is because it's just we're able to, I guess, get it from overseas, and it doesn't come from the United States that way. You can't really get roasted malts in that same sense. So 5 malt build in front of you, ranging from you know, Washington malts to overseas malts. And then we had a Belgian Saison yeast to it as well. So anybody that likes Saison beer, you'll kind of get some of those notes out of it as well. And then we also, the way that we utilize our oak and our casks and all that is quite unique. We use a virgin air-dried oak cask for this particular one that you're drinking. And then so on and so forth. We'll go into the other ones that we're utilizing, but really a dynamic distillery, really with the forethought of just using what's around us, and then also utilizing really great ingredients too. So, yeah.
And we've got a super chat from Wes Jolly from Colorado Springs.
There you go.
Wes was up here last weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wes was up last weekend and brought the Stranahan's and a couple of special
they're
distillery
American
releases
single malt.
there.
You had the Snowflake,
2 of the Snowflakes, and the Cask Thief. One of the Cask Thief.
Cab Callaway, which blew us away.
Yeah, they're another great distillery up in Colorado. Part of our commission of American single malts, and really great people up there too. Yep.
Wonderful.
Awesome. So American oak, the glass that you have right there in front of you, if you haven't already started drinking, which I think you have been sipping on a little bit.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So that's going to be our 5 malt build. This is kind of the core of who we are as a distillery. We like to really talk about American oak first, just because of us being an American single malt, and beyond that, using American oak. So that's kind of what we started out with, in a sense, to our distillery and all that kind of stuff, and started adding more of what we're going to be tasting later years after that. Yeah.
And I love it. And I actually love the push that you guys have made to work on there being an official American single malt category that's recognized as well. So I love that.
Yeah. So we essentially started that commission. A funny story essentially was we got those 30 odd distilleries kind of together at the time whenever we started the commission, maybe a little bit less than that. And we all flew them out to a certain location, because essentially we had to define what American single malt really is, because there's no category, right? We're essentially creating a category. Right. And everybody that was involved with the meeting of minds, if you will, thought it would take days to figure out this category definition, if you will. And it ended up taking them roughly about 30 or 45 minutes. So
more time to drink.
The beautiful part is everybody was kind of on the same page. We're leaving the definition a bit fluid because it allows for creativity and all that kind of stuff, but we still want to make sure there's certain terms, so you're not just batching whiskey in your bathtub per se. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
So that was Monday morning. By 9, you were done. What'd you do the rest of the week?
So they kind of hung out and drank, and it was great. It was a good week. It was a good couple of days. But yeah, like I mentioned, the commission is something that if you're not a part of and you kind of are wanting to get behind, you can go to I believe it's AmericanSingleMaltCommission.com or something like that. You can certainly look it up on the internet and sign your name. It's certainly has to go through all the right steps in order to go through Congress and everything and get it passed, but we'll get there eventually.
So when we did the American Oak, when we reviewed it, that was the first time I had it. There is a really strong, just what I call straw, hay, maltiness, grassiness. Maybe it's some of the oak influence as well.
I know.
And I could see where some people might not like it.
The creamy vanillas, honeycombs.
Well, it's almost like the Texas whiskey notes that you get. It's just there's a little bit different straw, malty hay note in there, but I'm really digging it, and it grows on you. I mean, this comes off as such a well-aged. I mean, and I don't think it's aged that long. It's in the world of whiskey. I'm guessing. I think it's younger.
Are we allowed to know? That's a good
I don't
question.
know if you say, but for the amount of time that it is aged, it really gets a great amount of depth and character from probably both the malt and the oak that you're using.
Are you able to tell us the range at which it's aged?
Sure. Yeah. So we are proud to say that it is only roughly about a 4 to 7 year old whiskey, which is quite young, but that really shows how much character is coming off the still and what we're putting into that barrel before we're even aging it.
Right. Yeah. Because that grassy note I get is the malt coming through. But then the cream, and it's like a light cream, and I get notes of the honeycomb and vanilla kind of wrapped through there as well, along with those little hints of oak. I really, really like this. I like the peated version as well, but I thought I would like the peated version more because I'm a peat head, but the real clean lines of everything as I'm tasting, and I keep going back to the standard American malt even more than the peated version. American oak.
Yeah, and we're non-chill filtered. We don't add color, and a lot of people that do have American oak for the very first time, it kind of sits right in the balance of a good, I don't even want to say bourbon per se, but it's Scotch in the sense of Scotch taste, but there's still a lot of creaminess, chocolatey, espresso, vanilla notes that kind of are that happy balance between all of it, which is great.
100%.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of the spices, a lot of cinnamons, your allspices in there, the oak. It's almost seems like a Scotch / bourbon hybrid.
Well, and Scotch Malt Whiskey Society did an independent bottling of it as well.
They did. Yep.
And that was, I wanted more of that. I could not get it.
I know. It ran out fast.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in fact, it was that the single cask nation one that you got.
Right.
It was a 2 or a 3 year old.
I think it was 2. And and I thought SMWS was
they had
3, I thought.
No, it was 4 or 6.
Was
it was
it 4?
It was longer, I remember. But that one albeit younger, still had a lot of that grassiness, that maltiness was really heavy with it. And that was the first Westland that I had, and I was kind of
I'm not
scared to test the waters.
BV Bull 200. Matt is the man. This is a super chat. Cool to see 2 very unique single malts get discussed. Love both Westland and Bruichladdich. $10. Cowbell, baby. Cowbell in. BV Bull 200. Now, is this a buddy? Is this your Uncle Matt? Who is this? Who's BV Bull?
So can you scroll up, Justin? It might be Matt Ferricks.
I think he's talking about our Matt right there, that Matt is the man.
Oh, Matt is the man. This is this guy.
Oh, you did it?
Know him? I was like
apparently it's our whiskey club donated.
He's behind the curtain right now.
I am digging him. Way to go. Because I was going BV Bull. I don't know if I've seen BV Bull on here before.
I have not. No.
All right. Like a virtual high five while he's right in front of you.
There we go. We just high-fived across the room.
At a moment.
Great.
Do you consider this kind of the Westland entry
Totally.
bottle?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only is it, the first production we essentially had, it's just a good way of introducing people to either American single malts or essentially our distillery in its core, just because of what it's made up of and kind of its background, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah, for an entry bottling, it's delicious.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's very good.
Good. Yeah, we have a lot of, I mean, obviously we're going to be tasting through a few other ones from Westland, but we've had cask series before. We have peat week, which we'll dive into once we get to the peated version. We have Gariana. So we like to play a lot of the distillery, needless to say. It's good.
Love it.
Yep.
Okay, so do you want to move to, is that anything else you want to touch on with American?
Perfect. Yeah. Just ready for more cowbell. That's all. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, bring us some more cowbell. We love cowbell. We're going to try to keep that on. Just
go to the sherry cask next. Sherry wood.
Do the sherry next.
Yep. Perfect.
Cool. So sherry cask, sherry wood that you're going to be pouring into your glass next. We at the distillery really believe in a whiskey and a sherry really melding together, not just a splash of sherry or a splash of whiskey or anything like that. So essentially in your glass, you're going to be having both Pedro Jimenez and ex Oloroso sherry in your glass there. We utilize just specific casks with a very small family over in Spain. And then they ship us direct the barrels to Westland, and we utilize those casks, those sherry butts, if you will. What's kind of unique about the sherry wood for us is that we ship our barrels upright, still wet, hoop and stave, everything. So there's about 1 liter to 2 liters worth of sherry in it. Whenever we get it on the other side, we'll dump that remaining sherry out, probably have a dram or two of it. And we don't want it to go to waste. And then we will immediately fill that barrel right away. So it is a very expensive process because we aren't breaking that sherry cask down on a pallet or anything like that overseas. And we are literally shipping it direct. But we really believe that it really gives so much sherry character to the whiskey, and you can really pull those flavors out of that glass.
I agree. We the sniper.
A super chat question from Eric Waite. Are they using, which I believe you addressed, are they using domestic malt or are they importing malted barley?
Yep. So both. It's going to be about 75 to 80% of domestic Washington Northwest malt. The rest is going to come from overseas just because we can't do those roasting methods. That's it.
Beautiful.
There was more of a quality thing too when he was building the build. I mean, you look at Westland as a whole, it's coming from Seattle, Washington, but the name of the bottle and the distillery is representing the whole region of the Pacific Northwest. And that's the direction of everything we're trying to do. Just for quality of what's available currently, since we opened the distillery, we do have to import in some barley, but we try to keep majority of it local to the state of Washington.
Yep. No, great point. Thank you.
Beautiful. And I will point out that one thing we'll do in our pre-recorded shows, we do some different things, and we'll do some blind tastings. And I'd actually picked up both the sherried version and the peated version, and I gave them to Scott blind. All he knew was that they were, I think you knew they were an American reach, right? Or did I even let you know that?
No, because at first I was thinking
that's right. You thought it was a sherry Scotch.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, but he knew he was getting 2. And then as soon as he moved, and I told him, hey, I just said it's from the same company.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tried to be vague. And as soon as he hit the peat. And then amazingly, you said, I think I know what this is. And I was like, no way. And you're like, Westland. I'm like, wow.
That's impressive. That's very impressive.
Yeah, but it was cool. I mean, your thoughts. I mean, when you picked up the sherry right away, and I think you even got the Oloroso notes.
Very nice, very present. I don't remember what I picked out on the sherry notes.
Yeah. Well, in the combination of the two, the oiliness of the Oloroso and the Pedro Jimenez being like really cherry and bright and fruits and all that kind of loveliness of what sherry can be. It just is a really beautiful marriage between both of them.
I would have said Oloroso. I just took my first sip of this one.
Yeah,
it's kind of what I get out. I get more of the Oloroso, and it's not as plum or raisin or prune, which is what I usually get more PX.
Well, no, the plum and the raisin, that to me will be the Oloroso, but this one's a lot more of the chocolate, toffee and coffee kind of darker.
Yes, I agree there.
Oloroso.
Yes.
We oftentimes get grandma's oatmeal raisin cookies. I'm like, I don't know what grandma was making your oatmeal raisin, but I got to come out of those. So I was like, I never had that kind of oatmeal raisin.
That's a good grandma is what that
is. It's a very nice grandma. But yeah, the nuttiness and then also that sweet finish as well, which is really nice.
Getting here on just great Oloroso notes on the nose. I got a lot of that malt again, the straw, almost a little bit of the barrel char kicking in too. I think a little bit of smoke.
Yep, that would make sense. And we are air drying a lot of our casks that we're utilizing specifically, which is great to get all the tannins and all of that out. Essentially, it just helps with everything in the maturation process. So yeah.
The mash and drum says cheers to grandma.
Cheers, grandma. My Nana might be watching right now. Hi, Nana. She's a little bit lighter in style when it comes to whiskey, but you know, I can still cheers her.
Well, I just remember though too, I was going to start this when we first went live. I wanted to say that hopefully game 3 of the World Series was over by the time we went live with this.
Because we usually draw all those people to us.
Well, yeah.
Literally, they just come over from the ballpark.
Yeah.
I don't know if it set the record for the longest game last night, but it's the longest World Series game. 18 innings, went till 3 in the morning. I don't know if anybody sat up and watched that.
Not I.
I hung in there till the 15th inning. And
that's some commitment still, though.
Yeah, that was a little after 1 in the morning. I was like, going to bed.
You got to the 15th inning. Why'd you give up at that point?
Yeah, you can't quit.
Yeah,
I did. Quit now.
I'm out. I was hanging in at that point.
I feel like that's a gambling thing too. Like you're just like, I'm ahead. I'm going to get there. And then you're like, man, I should have. No, that wasn't a good idea. Yep.
You should have combined a little bit of Westland with it.
Yeah.
I had a couple.
Then you would have only made it to the 11th inning.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I know, like Bart said, though, originally given this blind at first, the sherry oak, I thought, or the sherry wood, I thought single malt from Scotland.
I thought I had him.
Yeah.
Because he was like, oh, this is very good sherried Scotch. He goes, of course, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's coming from somewhere else. But I mean, you were like, this is very, you were very praiseworthy.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like a Highland or a Speyside, either one, sherry cask. And you were telling me the same, as soon as you gave me the peated one though, and said it was from the same company. Yeah. That's when I was like, who's making a sherry and a peated one the same company?
Yep. And then you nailed it, but I was still a little stunned. I thought I didn't think that you would be like, yeah, I've got it. It's like, wow.
Yeah, very good. Very delicious. It's
good.
Very tasty. Is it 46% as well?
Yep. It'll be 92. I always talk either way, but yes, 46 across the board. Makes it easy on me.
And do you put out how old it is?
Yeah, this one's going to be around the same as well. Honestly, it's going to be about a 4 to 7, but because it's touching that sherry barrel, obviously you're going to get a lot more of those hundreds of years of influence, seen World War, some of them, I'm sure. So yeah, we're getting a lot of different flavor notes just off the barrel alone.
Does it spend its whole life in that sherry barrel, or is it a double casking?
It's moved in, I think.
Yep. So so right now we're using first use sherry cask. So right when it gets to us, the first fill of whiskey or anything inside of it, we're not second filling it. Wow. However, we are now trying to essentially see what it looks like if we do a second fill off of a sherry cask. Obviously, that'll have to age longer just because it's got to have a lot more of that influence of sherry on it. But we aren't there yet. It's laying down right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can do
I'm trying. Cleanser. Somebody said I've got a good memory, and I was trying to see. Oh, Eric Waite says I've got a good sensory memory.
You do. You got a good memory all the way around.
It used to be better than
you'll be like, well, 4 years ago in September, I remember a whiskey I had that was similar to this. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, you're making it up. And then you'll be like, no, I think it was episode 38. And I'll be like, yeah, no. And then I'll secretly go watch episode 38, and he's right on. And then I'm just like, oh my God. And you could be setting me up.
I love it.
Hilton Moose is in.
Morning from Scotland.
Anytime you got a moose with a kilt, you're good.
Yep. That's Scott. Scott says, good morning from Scotland. Nice to see you all on a live stream. He watched the start of the game 3 last night, and then he went to bed. He woke up and over coffee and breakfast watched the end of it.
Oh, wow. Coffee and breakfast.
I hope it was like a proper Scottish breakfast as well. Those are... It's a heavy hit whenever it comes from that.
Scott, what'd you have for breakfast?
Yeah, we've got to know exactly.
Everyone's on. Just
yeah. If he comes back with cinnamon toast crunch, I'm calling foul. He'll be like Fruity Pebbles, baby. I'm like, shut up.
Get off the chat.
Yeah, this is a prank call.
Wes Jolly, our Stranahans, well, whiskey expert, but definitely our Stranahans expert.
Oh,
he says the Westland Garyana release had the most barbecue sauce note on the palate he'd ever experienced.
Wow.
It's savory. Our Garyana series is a really unique one. So essentially the Garyana species of the tree, as many people know, we're using a Quercus alba or another type of tree, but Garyana is a rare species that's essentially dying out. What is great is it grows really, really well in the Pacific Northwest, but you can't cut them down because they are becoming extinct. So what Matt does is essentially utilizes the one that are either fallen or have been moved to another location or anything like that. So that's our Garyana expression is utilizing that oak. And then we're also replanting new Garyana for future years. Obviously, in our time, we probably won't see those trees grow to full term, but we believe in giving back to the earth, so to speak.
Wow.
Yeah. Rare trees.
Got some
Real quick.
Hard baggy. 20 pounds.
Drams all around.
Drams all around. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Or ma'am. That was great.
Now, Matt, at your house, you're right when you've got the tasting going at your house. It's starting at 7 or when we're done anyway.
Yeah.
You already got people showing up.
Yeah, these are some of the VIPs for the Whiskey Club. The other people will get here later, 7:30. We'll have like 70 people here later.
Now, hold on. I'm calling foul right there. I'd be watching this. I'd be like, really? I'm sneaking in early.
What is the address of said location?
Yes. Yeah, when you only got a 30-minute break, I'd be like, I always show up early, Matt. What are you talking about?
Well, I said we're going to get somebody at the front door who's a solicitor. Somebody's just going to let them right in and be like, welcome. We're so glad you came.
That would be me. It is the political season. They're just trying to get you to make sure you're registered. Yeah, are you registered? Hold on. I'm here for the whiskey.
We're here. We're going to make friends tonight.
It's just like the LaQuinta guy joined us. He couldn't wait till his shift ended and joined us over when he was done.
Who was that? I stepped on who?
Oh, there we go.
The guy.
Oh, the LaQuinta guy. Yes.
Hey, you can't beat that.
That is it. When we'll do this this next Westland, and then I will tell the LaQuinta story.
Right.
Oh, I want to hear the LaQuinta story.
Shift. Oh, it was amazing.
Switch.
By the way, the sherry wood is my favorite.
Yeah, he really loves it.
It's a favorite of a lot of people. It really is. It introduces a lot of people to what I've found is to American single malts and those that are just trying to dip their toe in from a bourbon to a whatever and just needing to know more. We've had a lot of people just fall in love with it. So can't beat it.
When we shift to the Bruichladdich, I'm going to do our trademark testing.
I'm going to have a cracker too. Oh, that's right.
I know we didn't do the standard.
I want a cracker. Pass a cracker to me.
Send my wife down.
I'm kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, boom. Cracker.
It's like,
Cracker.
all right. So, peated is going to be your next expression, as we mentioned. Quick story about our peat is essentially the Scotch that we will be tasting shortly. The same peated malt is coming from that same location. So we're utilizing Baird's up in Inverness, and we're getting all of our peated malts from them. For our peated expression for Westland as well. And that was actually happening before Remy Cointreau acquired them or anything like that. They just, it's such a great place to get a lot of the malts in general. But yeah, there was the right note for what we were looking for. So we've been using them ever since. And what I like to say about this particular expression, it's a polite peat, because those that are essentially kind of a little afraid of peat, or they've had one that just kind of blew them out of the water and it was all they could taste for the rest of the night. What's really great about this is because it has those roasted malts and it has that Belgian Saison yeast and the oak and all of that kind of going on. It kind of tames down the peat to some degree, and you can't even really get it off the nose as much as you can off the palate, which is great.
Right.
Well, and now that when you did me blind with it.
Oh, when I did you blind.
No inferno.
We just hit the PG-13, baby, right there.
That was on the. I did not like you just noted. I didn't get the peat on the nose. I remember smelling. I was like, well, and I might have even said it was unpeated. It smelled like an unpeated version of the sherry.
Completely blind when you went in there. Yeah, and then as soon as you tasted it, you were like, I know what this is, and I was like, shut up.
No, there is. It almost is a nice unpeated, kind of a lemon custard.
Yeah,
lemon grassiness.
And of course, you're spot on. I'm a huge peat head. So but you're 100% right. My very, very first tasting I was at, it was a regional tour of Scotland, and they had a Lagavulin 16 in there. And at the time, I thought it was all ashtray. And I was like, oh my God, who drinks this?
Right.
So even though I'm way, way over on the peat now, everything, of course, that you're saying spot on. A lot of folks that I'll have come over to the house, if I gave them, even the Octomore or an Ardbeg 10 or a Lefroy, it would shock them. They'd be like, God, this isn't a drink. And so this is exactly perfect. It's almost like that roasted peanut is in there.
Yeah, yeah, and we talk a lot about at Bruichladdich Distillery, and then even at Westland, it's that nice Texas mesquite barbecue kind of note. It's lighter in style. It's almost more just a smoke than it is that iodine Band-Aid-esque sensation, which absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm a huge peat head myself, but it's certainly something for people that are just trying to understand what peat is. It's a great exploration to really see the range that peat is. It's not just one taste. It can be literally a ton of stuff. So essentially we started using this peat from overseas, and then now actually as you can imagine, due to the climate of Pacific Northwest and where we're at and everything, there's peat bogs kind of north of Seattle and in Canada and all that kind of stuff. So we've actually laid down our first casks of Pacific Northwest peated malt for our next expression. It won't be obviously the same as this, but it's a really unique way of showcasing what we can do in the United States. And apparently the taste off of it's going to be completely different too, because there's heather growing above it. So it's nice floral characteristics and all that as well. So it should be really, really good.
Wow. Put us on the list for that one.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
So what will that be named?
So we're gonna we're trying to figure that out right now. We're not sure. Obviously, it can't be the same as our first peated expression, but we're gonna have to do some kind of nod to the Pacific Northwest in some way, I'm sure. So, yeah.
A question for Westland came in. When or where is it available in Louisiana and Minnesota? Was the two states that I saw asked.
I'll have to write back in that chat, and I will get back to them directly because, those are the two that are a little bit different just due to allocation and availability. So, but I can certainly get back in the chat, and
I know Louisiana has been approved, so they're already getting shipped out to their distributor there. So it should start hitting the stores soon. What was the other state?
Minnesota.
No, I'm sorry, Minnesota.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm in Minnesota, but probably by our next year, come April, is when they'll start to be widespread across the country.
Interesting. So you'll have like the whole 48 or all 50?
So currently, actually, ironically enough, we've kind of scaled back just due to what we're trying to get available to everyone. So we were, for some short period of time, from what I understand, a bit global, but now we're scaling back, just making sure we can get the 50 states. And I believe in the next year or two, we'll definitely be global again. So for sure, the 50. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And a great question from Tom R. He says, please ask if they will use hemp to malt some local barley since it's legal in Washington state.
Good. Yeah, no, fair point. Not as of yet, but it's certainly not out of the question. So yeah, it is readily available though.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a hemped version with a bag of Cheetos with it.
Well, there is no THC.
Seattle does have hemp fest, so it is a thing.
I think there's CBD in hemp, but not THC.
You know,
I think, first of all, I think your comment alone should have been 3 cowbell people should have come in right there. That was great.
Yeah.
I'm just plugging. Sorry, go ahead.
Bart's palate,
thank you,
has been oversaturated with peat. Sometimes he doesn't get the lower.
That is
PPMs.
true. That is true. It's funny. I've almost ruined my palate for medium to low peat.
Yeah. I find this is very enjoyable, very drinkable. It's a nice
huge
vanilla lemon custard,
right?
You know, with a low level mid peat at the most, a little bit of a cigarette ashtray finish.
Not even that. My wife will not touch what I usually drink that's peated. She, I think, would really enjoy this. It's the approachability that you mentioned.
Yeah. Shout out to my mom. It's actually her favorite that we offer now. So she it really does change people's opinion of what peat is, because of, you know, it's like their first one is Islay Scotch, and it's heavily peated, and they never want to turn back to it. A lot of times whenever I'm doing like a really deep in class seminars or anything like that, it's, you know, when you start your exploration of liquor and spirits, you don't jump to a peated Scotch right away. Obviously you start with whatever bourbons or, you know, whiskeys. You started out as 21 and up, and then you kind of start to kind of dip your toe into bourbons, and then maybe over to scotches. And then with tequila, you don't go to mezcal first. You certainly try tequila first. So it's essentially just kind of taking each step and exploration of flavors, just as a chef would or anything like that. You know, we're just trying to really utilize all of the different things we can use in the recipe. So, yeah.
So, well, I'd have to ask, and has your mom must not have had the sherry wood yet?
She actually, ironically enough, she was at my house the other day, and she was asking, she's like, I don't think I have the Sherrywood expression. I was like, okay. So I poured her that one, and she loves that one as well. So we're making fans left and right.
Now, Tom R. heard the call, and he says, go ahead. Woo, sounds like a Benny's pick if they do that. Cheers, fellow whiskey lovers.
Yeah. That's the hemp version.
Right.
Benny's
in Chicago.
Oh, you could call it Hemp Day. Hemp Day.
Yeah, Benny's for us is a big partner. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, Benny's is awesome.
What day is it? Hemp Day.
Wow. You could just keep saying that. Great flavor. Great. Very approachable.
I guess I don't have to do anything
now. Classic Lottie, or we're going to move to Bruichladdich?
Yeah, we'll move into Bruichladdich. We'll start with a classic Lottie. You can start pouring your dram. We'll switch from Pacific Northwest and now move our way over to Scotland.
So what I'm going to say is we're getting ready to test it. Now we're going Scotch style, baby.
Live streaming style.
Now, while we're pouring, I'll tell you.
I got my star on there.
Oh, you're a good man. So,
thank you, sir.
We're all at LaQuinta. Little did we know LaQuinta was getting ready to turn into Whiskey Central. So we'd picked up It's Bourbon Night, Chad and Sarah. We had actually dropped them off at the front of the hotel. They hadn't checked in yet at LaQuinta. We drop them off. They're negotiating luggage or whatever. We run up to the room that we have, and we'd been having key card problems.
Oh yeah,
for several days.
Yeah,
and they kept saying you're keeping it too close to your phone. And Scott's got like one in his shoe and one in his hat. And I'm like, it's not near the phone. No. But he's irritated. He's like, run down and get 2 new cards. We can't get into the room. I'm coming down the stairs because the elevator's out.
It's my fault, probably.
This is quite an experience so far.
I'm just letting you know, yeah, we're having all kinds of problems, but LaQuinta's getting ready to be my favorite hotel. That's all I'm saying.
It's 2 minutes out.
It's coming. I'm working my way down the stairs, key cards in hand, about to get new ones, when suddenly I hear a ruckus. A very large cheer has rung out. There's no, I'm like, what in the world's going on down here? I come around the corner. Chad and Sarah have entered. There's like 50 people in the front lobby, which is big, but not big enough for 50.
It holds like 22.
Yeah, Matt's in charge of the entire place with the largest sampling there. And then when I pop around the corner, I hear dummies, and then this big cheer goes up again, and I'm like, well, this is good. This has never happened before. There's noise going on. Whiskey's being poured. People are coming up. I'm on my phone telling Scott, you got to come down here right now. There's a thing going on at LaQuinta.
Yeah, Roy and I were
thing happening at LaQuinta.
There's a thing going on at LaQuinta. You can't use the elevator. Your key card's bad. Doesn't matter. This is a thing going on right now. And it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
That's the end of the story. Who are all the people?
They were all there for the.
They're all waving. They're all waving behind the screen right now.
Yeah, we don't even know who they were.
Yeah, they were. They
heard
just.
there was whiskey.
Yeah, they were there for like a car show.
Oh. But cars and whiskey.
I think they saw Matt bringing in. What do you have, like 100
Oh
bottles or
my
something?
God.
Yeah, I think I brought in 10 cases. That's probably the reason the elevator didn't work. Was probably my cart.
If an elevator ever fails for a good reason, that is it, Matt.
It was a good reason.
That's
it didn't work after we used it the first day. I'm pretty sure it was the whiskey cart.
I love it. Way to break the elevator. Good call.
Fast
It's
times
okay.
at
We had a good
LaQuinta.
time.
We did. It was amazing. I mean, it was one of those moments that you couldn't have predicted. You couldn't have scripted. And as soon as the whiskey's being poured, whiskey's doing what it always does. It's making everybody into friends. It's not, and Matt's the first one to let you know that it's not whiskey really until it's shared. And there he is sharing his whiskey.
Absolutely.
So kudos to Matt. Kudos to Matt. So let's get into this book.
10 people and it ended up around 60. So it worked out well.
Oh, it was amazing. That's the LaQuinta story. Best hotel I've ever been in.
Absolutely.
That's a great story. And yeah, your remark about essentially bringing people together by way of whiskey. I quite literally was having that same conversation yesterday. This industry or non-industry, fans, whatever you want to, all together, we can put politics, religion, everything aside and all come together for the same, kind of core of what we're all enjoying, which is, I don't know if you can find that a whole lot of places in the world. I mean, maybe food, but yeah, it's one of my favorite things that I think I've been able to receive. It's just the friends that I've made and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's quite fun.
100%. Yeah, it was. I'm at like one group and we're chatting, and the gentleman I think to my left was an aerospace rocket engineer. And I think the guy on my right worked for FedEx, and we were all speaking the same language. It was unbelievable.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's a beautiful thing whenever you can do that. That's for
100%.
sure.
100%.
For 2 nights in a row.
Yeah. That was another reason why LaQuinta is my favorite. Yeah, they had a whole encore.
Robin.
Yeah. I was like, encore.
Did you bring your cowbell is the question.
We had virtual. We had virtual cowbell.
Waving it. I got it.
Yeah. Had we known,
It's not the same.
I would have created an event called the Cowbell Run. We would have been running around. It would have looked like a conga line going with the cowbell. You can have picked.
Would have definitely. I mean, that's an event in itself. This whiskey and cowbell. I think you should.
We won't keep it in mind. I think I just coined something that's going to happen. We're going to have to.
I'm getting ready to coin it. Cowbells and kilts.
Ooh.
Oh.
I like that plan.
There was a lot of oohs and ahs.
Would it be cowbells and kilts or kilts and cowbells?
Kilts and cowbells in the cold.
Kilts and cowbells almost sounds dirty. I don't like it. I like it. Let's move on to Bruichladdich. Well, okay. Although we were in Dallas.
LaQuinta story. I'll be here all night. I want to hear more LaQuinta stories.
All right. Well, we'll come back. You're right, though. Let's hit the Bruichladdich. It's a beautiful latte.
So we'll move on to Scotland, predominantly Islay. For those of you that are unfamiliar, I'm sure you're not, but 200 miles due outside of Scotland is the beautiful Hebridean island of our whiskey, if you will. We live right in the smack of Lochindaal, and a beautiful, beautiful area. If you have not been, I highly recommend it. So what Islay is essentially known for, as a lot of people know, is the peatiness and full flavor, smoke, all that kind of stuff. Our distillery at Bruichladdich actually does everything from completely unpeated to some barley exploration to the most heavily peated Scotch in the world. So the range is just quite dynamic and different. It's a ton of fun. And it's just awesome to be a part of it, honestly.
Very much so. I mean, the artisanship that's going on at Bruichladdich, I'm a huge fan of. Huge.
Yeah, absolutely. We make a lot of people pretty irritated with us because we want to just be revealing in the sense of what we're doing at our distillery, and we want to geek out. And we, Jim, our prior distiller, and now Adam is just really into the depths of what else can we do and how much further can we push the limit, if there is even one, which is kind of what we talk about when it comes to Octomore and our PPM or barley exploration and what
the black arts.
The black arts.
I've got a black art story. Sorry, the black art. I have a black art story for later.
Oh, there's a black art story.
You can make some aficionados mad if you say black art.
I always do. I'm always like the black arts, and they'd be like, heretic, you added an S. There ain't no S on it. And then I'm like, I apologize. LaQuinta. You say it 3 times.
Oh, there you go. Bring her over.
There's black.
Oh, look at that. What is that, 4.1?
Yeah, that's the 1994 one.
God, that's one of my favorites.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
The 3.1 is also extremely good.
Yes, it is. So Scottish barley, the one that you have in your hand right now, that beautiful blue, iconic bottle for us, if you will. A lot of people will see it on a back bar, or they'll pick it up at a store or anything like that. On a good day, Islay looks a lot like this color, that nice crystal blue. That probably happens about 4 days out of the year, but but yeah, no, it's a good nod to the beauty that is Islay. And then beyond that, Scottish barley kind of almost letting people really explore Islay Scotch without, again, we talked about the peat and all that kind of stuff. Just really exploring on the barley side and having hints of peat in there, maybe from casks or something else prior used. But the beauty of it is it is unpeated. So it really allows you to understand our distillery and its core.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Mega John Conrad is asking if he was to buy just one Bruichladdich, which one should he buy? I would really start with this one. We've had this one before. It wasn't too long ago that I killed that bottle. I think it's a great intro showcasing Bruichladdich and their unpeated whiskeys.
Port Charlotte.
You get to see what Bruichladdich is about here.
I would still say
the only thing we need is a fill line, like there needs to be a void.
He wants a void. He wants to know how much liquid.
I need to know how much.
We get that quite a bit. That is not.
You'll find out when it's gone.
That's not the first one. There's a lot of bars and a lot of people that'll just kind of shake it for the noise and all that kind of stuff. I have seen a couple bars that will. Please don't do this to your bottle, but it does work. Scratch like the back of it, and so it can expose the. It certainly works if that's what you're into, but. Yeah, we have different measuring things that we've heard all over the place, but that's usually the only thing when we hear from a bar or anything standpoint is the bottle's already heavy and now I can't tell how much whiskey's inside. So
mash and drum cowbell. He has a question. Cheers, everyone. Great show. Just got my first few samples of Octomore. How does each version of Octomore start conceptually?
Yeah, great question.
Well, I was going to say, let's hold off because
you want to hold on that when we hit the Octomore
8.3.
How about we recall that mash and drum when we move to the Octomore?
Yeah.
Great question, though, for sure.
Good call. We will bring that up when we hit that.
But yeah, if you're just starting to get to know Bruichladdich or anything like that, I would say start here. It certainly kind of gives you a taste of what is to come without giving too much away. The build on this is going to be a Scottish barley along with some Islay barley, but that's kind of the differentiation between the one that we're trying now and what we're about to try, which is all Islay barley. Yeah. So
it feels like it could be the base for the Westland Peated. A lot of similarities.
Yeah, there is a lot of peat characteristic off of this, even though there isn't any peated malt, which is I get that quite a bit. Is the fruity floral, all that off of classic Lottie is real similar to what we have from the Belgian Saison yeast and those roasted malts. And it's an interesting bridge, if you will. It wasn't to a fault that we were trying to do classic Lottie. I mean, obviously Scotch has been made for hundreds of years, but I have heard that before, that there is an interesting bridge happening. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of malt on it. There's that same lemongrass and vanilla custard type.
Yeah, vanilla custard's perfect.
Yeah.
The creaminess.
And there's actually more malt on the nose than I remember.
Yep.
Lot of malt on the nose.
It's light, it's clean, it's crisp.
Yeah, it's delicious.
50%.
So you're actually bottling that a little bit hotter.
Yes. So majority of our whiskeys, except for some of our rarer ones, and then obviously Octomore, are all bottled at 50, which it is a little bit higher in proof, but honestly, it tastes really like light and clean to me whenever I have it. And maybe it's because I've had quite a few of them at this point, but I agree. It is a lighter style of Scotch, if you will.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah. Wonderful.
So another really fun fact about Bruichladdich, because I'm looking at the back of this bottle right now, which is what brought it up. If you look at the back of your bottle right there in front of you, there's going to be a black labeling at that bottom right-hand corner or left-hand corner. You'll see some numbers and letters, and they don't make any sense. So if you were to go onto our website and then click on Classic Lottie, and then kind of scroll down a little bit, we've essentially, that's our batch code, if you will. So it'll literally tell you from start to finish what casks are in that, how long, how many varieties there are in your bottle, and all that kind of stuff. So from a standpoint of Classic Lottie, we like to look for consistency more than anything else. We want you to have your Classic Lottie today, and we want it 3 years from now to taste exactly the same way. So the only science to that is we don't know how a cask is going to affect whiskey, age, all that kind of stuff, environment. So Adam really looks for consistency more than anything else. So that really requires, just like you would a cook or anything else, blending all of these types of different barrels to find a consistent match, time over time. But it is quite unusual to do that. And it's something that we like to give our good fans a little nod to whatever's in their glass.
So the bottle may not be transparent, but the liquid is.
Oh, look at that, like poetry. It was almost like a haiku.
Like cowbells and
That was almost a haiku.
Yeah, it was like a haiku.
That's funny.
That was beautiful.
So I went ahead and grabbed for next the 2009 Islay barley unpeated.
Yes, this looks interesting though. I've never had this.
No. We've had the heavily peated Islay barley, but not the unpeated Islay barley.
Yes. So when you talk about it from a portfolio standpoint, that's a very corporate thing to say, but our line, if you will, our Bruichladdich Scotch, the Classic Lottie, the blue bottle, unpeated. The Bruichladdich Islay barley. So a good way to remember it, if it says Bruichladdich on it in bold letters, and that's what you're seeing, most likely that is an unpeated version of what we're making at our distillery. If you're seeing the Port Charlotte, which you mentioned earlier, that's going to be our heavily peated product, still from the same distillery, but heavily peated. And then our Octomore, which is still from the same distillery, but heavily peated. So it's kind of confusing to a lot of people, but I promise it's a lot easier to remember whenever you break it down like that. And as I mentioned, the only difference between this mark and essentially what you were just tasting is barley style. So we are utilizing only Islay barley when it comes to this. So you're going to get a little bit more of golden, salinity, all of those lovely, lovely notes with us being on an island.
Mm-hmm.
Terroir, people, and time is kind of the big key points for Remy Cointreau as a whole.
Yeah.
So the idea when they reopened with Jim and Simon of Bruichladdich in 01 was we want to do things kind of back to the omen of the original ways of Scotch being done. Thus, 100% barley from mainland Scotland for that Classic Lottie. Well, then we also said if we're the terroir people of Islay, then we got to represent Islay better. And so that's where the idea of partnering with local farmers on the island itself to start growing barley. You grow it, we'll buy it, we'll make whiskey.
Love it.
Now we're making it more localized for us on the island.
Yeah, to some degree, a lot of people think of it almost like a vintage, if you will, because each particular bottling we do has different farms and amounts of farms, and some are very coastal and some are very inland. The great and beautiful thing is that we are, as Justin says, employing all of these people to remain on the island and live and thrive and all of that kind of stuff. So we are the biggest employer on the island of Islay when it comes to a distillery. We employ roughly 100 people at this point between Glasgow and Islay. And then beyond that, you have to think about the maltsters and the farmers and everyone else that's involved in our production, because we haven't, one thing that I didn't mention is we haven't essentially updated our distillery, so to speak. So our distillery was founded in 1881. And then the same Victorian age equipment is still all inside, intact, in use, but it requires hand pushing and touching and all that. You can't literally go into the distillery and press a green button and then all of the things like NASA start, lighting up on the big screen.
Weren't you guys getting ready? I think I read something where you were moving a bottling section and maybe even going to have your own malting floor.
Yeah, so that is the beautiful thing again is with Remy Pointreau on board, we have a few more funds, obviously, but they haven't been changing anything that Bruichladdich does. They more listen to our vision and what we want to do. So we are opening more warehouses for maturation, and then we are in the process of looking at malting as well. Yeah.
Right. I knew it had to happen.
It's like 5 years, probably. It won't be like tomorrow, obviously. But
right. Yeah, I heard it hadn't happened yet, but it was definitely like, hey, we're still trying to go back to old school and not just sourcing our malted barley, but having our own malting floor. And that's, I read that and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Really unique. And we really try to look back at what's been done for centuries, if you will. Back in the late 1800s, it was essentially written on the island of Islay that where they were using peat more for just the chimneys, but they were also using it for malt as well. So we have record of all of that kind of stuff that was being done back then. So our Port Charlotte is again a nod to what was being done back in Lochindahl Distillery whenever they had it back in that time. It may not be same because we don't have obviously the recipe for it, but it really is a nod for what they were making back then.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yep. Beautiful. Yeah, you're right on the. It's hard to describe golden notes, but when you mentioned that, I was like, exactly. It feels. I don't know how you describe it, but like a little bit. The flavor profile is a little more rounded and almost a little more bold, but clean and crisp at the same time with a little kicker. But when you mentioned like golden notes, I was like, yes.
Yeah, a lot of just people have described it as honey or any of those kind of things, which I just think of it less sweet as honey, but more maybe just rounded, like you mentioned. What's great about utilizing all those different farms, as I mentioned, if they're right on the water, you're going to get those salinity notes. We had one bottling back in 2007, which was Rockside, and it's a very coastal farm, and it was the only one we utilized for that particular vintage. So you're going to get a lot more salinity on it. When you get up to a few farms being utilized, most likely you'll get those golden notes, as I mentioned, but you'll also get those salinity notes because some of them are going to be on the island right on the coast, which is really fun. And it makes it a fun vintage as well.
Yeah, in every bottle of Islay barley, Port Charlotte and Bruichladdich, you can actually see the list of the entire farms on the bottle.
Yeah.
And you can find them located where these barleys are coming specifically for each mark.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I know we found some dusty bottles. I found the 3D from 2004.
3D3.
Yeah. And then we also found the Infinity bottle, which is an 05.
Rioja cask.
Oh, yeah. Man. We literally walked into the liquor store and he goes, "You got any dusty bottles in here?" The guy goes, nah, we don't have anything. And then Scott yells out, "I got a Bruichladdich in here." I'm like, "Oh," and I like shoved him out of the way. And I'm like, "What can is that? I haven't even seen that can."
Yeah.
You don't have it here.
Well,
I've got it at home.
rocks.
Yeah, he does have the rocks here. But yeah, and then the guy goes, "Oh, there is that one."
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
That was just probably last year, maybe the year before that I found it.
Yeah.
You got one you got to bring in December now.
Do what?
What do you need to bring in December?
What do you want me to bring? You want me to bring that?
Yeah, I've never even seen that bottle.
Oh, really?
What? You don't have that with your 28,000 bottles at your house? What are you talking about?
No, I don't have that one.
We'll trade out some of that 4.1 black art.
Oh,
all right. We can do that.
Oh, you bet.
Actually, there was a bottle of black art 4.1 at Freeman's in Oklahoma City.
Shut up.
We could stop on our way down there.
Is it? You just mentioned it out loud live. It's gone now.
Mm-hmm. Freeman's in Oklahoma City.
Shh.
It's okay. We're in
Freeman's got
Freeman's, yeah.
So, quit saying the name of it, for heaven's sake.
Speaking of Freeman's, They brought something else down. We'll talk about later from Freeman's yesterday.
Really?
Okay.
Dang.
I was gonna say just going side by side with the 2 unpeated Bruichladdich, getting it back to this.
Sure. Hey, yeah.
The classic laddie is a lot more citrusy. It's almost when I went side by side with it, it almost stands out kind of like an IPA hops does. Really a lot more kind of pungent, herbal and sweet notes with it compared to a more subdued maltiness with well, do you still have some left?
Just try some of yours.
The classic laddie just really seemed a lot more in your face, kind of the maltiness and the citrus zest notes.
Interesting. In the forefront, and then I get more in the finish on this one. That is very interesting.
Yeah, well, I think the Islay barley unpeated is the finish hangs in there a little bit longer. I do see it's only 6 years, which surprised me. It says on the back, well, it says right there too, distilled 09, bottled in 2015.
Yeah, 6 years in an oak cask.
Very nice. So I mean, just the finish that comes with it, it seems just a little bit. I like this. I don't know if darker is the term, but it just is a little bit more compared to the lightness of the classic laddie.
Yeah, because we are grain to glass, as you know, we say it in different ways, but as Justin mentioned, it's a huge thing for us, kind of just literally from like start to finish, and until we see it, it's all made on the island of Islay, which is great. And this particular one for me really speaks to that, as does the Port Charlotte we're about to get into. So.
And you mentioned that bottle line as well. So when you cracked your bottle open, that's the first time it's seeing air outside of the island.
Beautiful.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Yeah, good.
I love it.
That's a beautiful way of putting it.
Now, are there?
That was that was almost like another haiku.
He's full of these.
He
really should be speaking and not me. But
so are there different versions of this, or is this, if you find this, it's the Islay barley 09, 2009?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like a wine vintage or anything like that. Each year is going to be a different farm, a different taste, all that kind of stuff. Actually, this year Islay had a heat wave. Can anybody guess what that heat wave was?
The Fagiel was beautiful weather.
Yeah, heat wave would be 70 degrees in Islay. So the barley, essentially, we had to harvest a little bit earlier because of that. So it'll be interesting to see what that even tastes like when it comes out as a vintage for us. But yeah, I've done actually a side-by-side I guess whiskey tasting, if you will, with a few people, and done different vintages of Islay barley, and they're just so dynamically different that alone will tell you that barley matters. And we're not just using some, thing for yield or anything like that. Just like a brewer or a person making wine and utilizing grapes, we really believe that barley matters, and it gives a lot of taste to what we're putting in that bottle. So that's what's really great about the Islay barley, essentially.
100%.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting a little excited.
I get it. Have you had this yet?
This is actually, we just had a small sample last weekend.
Good.
But we haven't seen this here at all. So we were very excited to see this show up in the package.
Yeah. So this is a kind of a special treat, I guess, for you guys. We've only launched it in roughly about 4 or 5 markets right now, being New York, California, Texas, Chicago, and I think that's it, Boston. Yeah.
Wichita.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Literally, this is essentially a 4-week or so, roughly, when we launched this product here in Texas. So it is brand spanking new.
Just look at that.
Look
Beautiful bottle too. This is the first time it's kind of a change in the bottle. It's got an industrial almost kind of feel to it. And I love this classic, almost like 1920s embossed on there.
Yeah. So a lot of essentially what we've taken a lot of thought and care, not only to the liquid inside, but also how it feels and how it looks and all that kind of stuff. So essentially, we're relaunching Port Charlotte for those of you that are unfamiliar with Port Charlotte in our series, if you will. Port Charlotte for us has been around for a very long time, but it kind of gets lost a little bit sometimes between all of the different products that we have between Bruichladdich and Islay barley and our Octomore and everything. So we really wanted to showcase this because we feel like it's such a beautiful liquid that Adam and many collective minds, if you will, kind of came together and they said, why aren't we doing a 10-year? We can flex our muscle in that category. Although Bruichladdich doesn't stand a lot by age, if you will, we don't like to just put that out all the time. We know that we can, and we know we're capable of it. So this kind of pays tribute to essentially the island of Islay, the people that are on it, because essentially we like to think that we collectively with Islay are our Port Charlotte and our Islay. So that's kind of what we're doing with this particular one. This is our 10-year vintage that you guys are drinking. Beautiful, beautiful liquid. Yeah, just so excited about it.
Now, I've got to ask, is this bottle unique just for the 10-year, or is this going to be a change where all Port Charlotte bottles are more in this style?
Yeah, great question. No, it's a chain for all of our style. So we, moving forward, are getting rid of the old versions of the bottles of Port Charlotte's, the gray tin and the white tin, and then that clear bottle of Port Charlotte. A lot of that is because we want to almost create a differentiation, because Islay barley a lot of times looks a lot like on a shelf, just like the Port Charlottes do. So we want to make sure everybody's totally aware of the differentiation between all of them. And then beyond that, we're just excited to change the bottling too. The bottling itself is way different than the other stuff that we've put out there, aside from maybe Octomore. But this one will be the way that it is seen moving forward. So we have the Port Charlotte 10. We have a Port Charlotte Islay barley series as well. So that'll be a vintage style. And then we're also going to be doing cask expressions as well with Port Charlotte moving forward as well.
You're speaking my language. Well,
I'm like, just keep on going.
that's right. That was good. Hip Hill.
Hoyt was up here last weekend. He says for Bart, recommended PC Port Charlotte Scottish barley, great whiskey. We've had it. You love it.
Love it. As much as so the PC Scottish barley was in kind of the gray can. The Islay barley PC was in more of a white can, and I loved them both. And you could definitely tell the differences even between the two. And I love the idea of the distinction that the Port Charlotte will be in kind of this lovely bottle with this very touchable kind of throwback with the embossed letters right on the back of the bottle. I'm thrilled by that.
Bart likes to touch stuff.
I do.
Designers, if you actually take the cap off here, you can notice at the top we've got a patent pending on the lip there, actually preventing for your spill when you pour too. You can kind of see that little cut into the glass there.
I see it, and I'm digging what you're saying.
Also, it sounds really good when you put that cork back on. It's like, yeah, there it is. We've thought about every single detail when it comes to this bottle, I will say. Bartenders are actually really excited about it too, because if you hold the bottom lip here when you're pouring, I actually love it too. You can almost hold it like one-handed. I mean, obviously, if it's really, really heavy, you can hold it like that. And then this lip right here at the bottom, you can almost grip it with your forefront.
You know what, Bart? You know what Bart calls that?
I was not going to bring it up. But I do call. Well, this has. I call it a glass hole.
Yep.
And I wasn't going to say anything because I was like, this has a wide glass hole.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. It does.
But it's grippable.
It is grippable. Very grippable.
Right about now, we need a haiku.
Yes. We're waiting for you.
Take it. I'm thinking.
And then also those that maybe are kind of, again, coming into our distillery, trying to figure out who we are at our core. Green glass alone, a lot of people will pick up when it comes to a peated whiskey. So that was another reason why we changed, instead of that see-through glass, it's that peated iconic green glass that a lot of people know as a peated whiskey or a good Scotch whiskey or anything like that.
Love it.
Yep.
Well, and what was new? So what was new to me tonight? Bruichladdich bottling all at 50%. I see this is at 50% as well. So where's the peat on the nose, though? Are you getting?
There's a little bit of a touch of iodine in the nose there if you pick it up.
It's more iodine and Band-Aids.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
And there's a nice rich sweetness to it as well, though. On the nose.
Right. But yeah, Matt's exactly right. The touch of iodine, touch of Band-Aid.
The beautiful thing is that whenever I'm smelling it, I get that same nose, but when I'm tasting it, it's more like chocolatey and hickory smoke and barbecue-esque. It's just got a lot going on.
I get like mouth watering before I've even tasted it.
Like, ready.
Yeah.
Just to let y'all know, we have a lot of jealous faces looking.
I know, they're all like, what's happening?
I know. Before we finish, you're gonna have to turn the camera around and show
Their
the crowd.
time is coming.
Yeah, the VIPs are in, and the non-VIPs, you can't come for 20 more minutes. You can't even step in. You'd be like, knock, knock. No, you're early. Get back. Get back.
Don't put it in their face.
I'm
The
running.
bouncer actually at the front of the house right now.
Tom R says 5 drams in, and Scott's having a hard time finding the peat. No, well, okay.
Well, it's not the Octomore.
Yeah, but I mean, Port Charlotte, heavily peated, Islay single malt, 10 years old. There's a faint hint of peat
On the nose. You're going to get more of
I haven't tasted it.
Right. You're going to get more of the Band-Aid and more a touch of the Band-Aid and a touch of the iodine, in my opinion. It's not like the peat smoke is crawling out.
The nose makes it very approachable.
Of course. Yes. Well, as soon as you get peat, it's approachable for me. Mm.
It's yummy.
Mm. Oh wow! There is such a rich sweetness with it.
Yeah, beautiful velvety
Yep.
mouth coating here. The
Yes.
mouth feels just beautiful.
And I'll tell you, it's almost the sweetness is so much. It's almost, I would almost think sherry cask influence, although it doesn't. I think it just says it's ex bourbon,
It's just good.
or it just says 10 years of age, 10 years in oak casks.
It's delicious.
My favorite so far.
Mm.
Are there any sherry casks involved in this?
For our Port Charlotte, no. For a few of the other ones, there are, but to my knowledge, there is no sherry influence whatsoever happening.
Ex bourbon.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm so
And
glad.
this is not a peat bomb. Some people think, it's going to be a peat bomb, or it's not.
Yeah.
Very savory. I actually get the iodine and the Band-Aid on the nose, not so much on the palate. I get more of a savory peat on the palate.
And it's still going to be right up there with 40 ppm before, bottling, so on and so forth. So it'll be a little lighter than that, but it's still very light in style when it comes to that heavy of a peat influence. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, and this is one where, I tell people, this is one you'd want to move around and swish around a little bit and jostle it a little bit on your palate, because it literally, the peat kind of moves on you a little bit. Man,
There's there's the campfire, there's smoked meats,
savory
barbecue.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Smoked meats, I get that now.
Yeah, beautiful.
What's fun is this is one of the very first of maybe 5 or 10 tastings that I've done. So we're really like picking up tasting notes as we go along. So I'm gonna get all those plugs. It's good.
I like how you're walking us along, and it's getting peatier and
Yeah.
So we've gone through 5 or 6 drams. Now you're going to turn around and do it again.
It's all right.
For the VIP. So we got one more, right?
We do.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Let's bring it, because those VIPs are like, come on now.
Come on now.
Come on now.
Well, I think they have you had barbecue brought in, didn't you, Matt?
Ooh, really?
Everybody's more excited.
Where from, Matt? Where from?
Where's Brian at?
Right
There. Tell me where barbecue is.
Well, it's just from my place.
Hold on, it's Brian's my place. I want to come.
I have a little barbecue business, Pit Face Barbecue, and did our award-winning pork belly burn ends for everyone today.
Really? First of all, you sound like the voice of God. I love it. It's a voice of God with a touch of Texas.
He's like
God is from Texas. You know that, right?
There you go, baby.
five grams in. They're not sure where they are.
You guys are awesome. I love you guys. All right.
Okay.
So here we go. We're moving into my dreamland.
All right, so in front of you is your 8.3 of the Octomore series. So 8 series being the newest maybe for people to buy. 9 series is literally right off the glass, coming right straight to us right now. But as soon as it gets here, it'll be poured, I'm sure. But 8 series being what's out in the market right now. This is going to be 8.3. So this is actually the most heavily peated ppm we've ever done at Bruichladdich, period. So we're jumping straight from 40 right on up to 309 ppm.
You were talking my language.
Talking my language.
Should we do the cowboy question for Octomore?
Sure.
Kick off the.
I can't remind me what it is.
Mash and drum.
Yeah, remind me.
Oh yeah, mash and drum.
I don't even remember what it was.
I know he made me go.
Yeah, I just pulled that. I have the 7.3, so I just pulled that out.
Perfect. Yeah, beautiful.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So they're all.
I'm sorry, 6.3.
They're all going to range a little bit between casking style, age, ppm. Each one is going to be a different expiration based on your point, whatever you're utilizing. So we have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. 0.2 being global travel retail, so you have to get it overseas. 0.1, 0.3, 0.4 is all domestically available in the United States.
Okay. Once again, I want to storm Matt's house.
Anytime, Bart. Just come down.
You guys are Texas, baby. I know if I come, you got your packing. That's all I'm saying.
That's true too.
It's true.
I'll come in peaceful. I'll bring whiskey.
Yeah, I like free whiskey.
Yeah, so the start of the Octomore. So the 0.1 is going to be similar to our other marks, which are Scottish barley. The 0.2 is the duty free, which kind of varies. The 0.3, which you can buy, is going to be your Islay barley, and then the 0.4 was new with the 7 series and on Ford. So when Adam took over, it's his virgin oak versions of the Octomore. So that's his new release when he took over the distillery.
Yeah, so this nice, it's a good way of also remembering it, which is, thank you for lining that up. But they're black. There's black bottles. There's clear bottles. A clear bottle. I think the only way that we've ever done the clear bottle is with that Islay barley liquid in style. Yeah.
Beautiful.
But if you get those 0.1s or some of the other Octomores, the design of the bottle itself,
yep, it's going to change.
You know, being the most peated Scotch in the world as a whole for the group, it's resembling a brick of peat itself. So that's kind of the idea of how they designed the bottles at Bruichladdich.
It's yummy.
It is. I mean, this nose is rich. It's smoky, touch of iodine, but it almost, I don't know, it's weird. This is one of the times I give it a nosing note that doesn't make sense. I say chimney.
Oh yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just lovely. And there's something else in there I can't quite pull out. What do you guys get?
I definitely get a lot of the barbecue, hickory, campfire by the water, beachy kind of vibe. But yeah, the chimney one is a good way of putting it. Soot.
Stuck a Band-Aid, stuck your head up the chimney.
Yeah.
Love it. And I love that campfire by the water too, because you're right, I get a little saltiness on it.
Yeah, it's oceanic kind of campfire. The perfect day.
It's like a dark night with a bonfire.
Yeah, with a bear rug and
and a blizzard.
In a blizzard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, all those together and it works. Gosh, that nose is delicious. Oh, you tried it?
I just went in. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I did. I just went back. Before I did, I went to the Port Charlotte 10 first just to have it on my palate and be able to compare it. The ABV of this just knocks it out of the park, of course. But this is so much. The depth of this is so much more.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm like ensconced in velvet. Oh, this is good.
Yes. Well, they both are.
I mean, it's been good all the way along.
Everybody has love, right? It is what it is.
Yeah, this is my sweet spot, and this is why you walk us toward the strong end, hit the towards the finish here too, because this is just powerful.
Yeah, it is. It kind of just opens up and it keeps continuing to expand each time you have it, just like a bomb almost, like in your mouth going off, but in the most pleasant way.
Yes. Yeah, you got that caught you. That one caught you, didn't it? That caught you. It slapped Scott around a little bit, gave him a backhand.
That's right.
61.2%. Now, I'll say that with the Octomores, when you talk 309 ppm, it doesn't really. I mean, it's not like.
Well, it's not like your taste buds are burned off your mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just this. It's this. There's actually a depth of flavor, not just an upfront burst.
Yeah. And you mentioned the creaminess too, just that non-chill filter that really just velvety smooth almost. And I think that almost helps in a way just because of the velvety side of it. And it kind of just coats the whole palate. So you're getting all of the different sides of your palate, picking up all those different tastes, if you will.
Yeah. And then the beauty really in all peats and definitely here is definitely in the finish. The finish just goes on and on and on. And that's really where I've fallen in love with peats. You know, I could spend an hour with an ounce again with this Octomore because it just, the flavors don't stop once you've sipped it. It just keeps going and going and going.
Absolutely.
Your whole mouth is engulfed.
Yeah. Yes.
It's great neat with a drop of water or 2 drops of water.
I don't want to put water in. I'm sure it is. I don't want to put any water in it. You could.
It even accentuates the finish.
Well, if it accentuates, now I got to try some water.
Yeah.
Sorry, we've got doorbells going off and the kids are running to.
And I know we're pushing past our time. This is good. We're almost done, and we'll let you guys.
No problem.
We're in no rush. It's fine. They'll all wait for whiskey. Trust me, they'll be fine.
Well, see, it's what is it? It's 7:21. Those are the non-VIPs that are like, "Let us in, Matt. Let us in." We're watching this live outside in the car. We want in, baby. We want in.
I've got smoked ham and cranberry sauce.
Wow, that's Linden.
No, not the cranberry. The honey glazed ham.
Wow,
the stuff you pour on.
All I'm going to say now, you're talking to the voice of God in there again.
Yeah, I'm right here.
I heard him. That's it. That's unbelievable. That is a disembodied voice. That is awesome.
It's just like comes out. He's like 5 foot.
I love it. I am still here. Oh my God, he's still there.
Now, what do you think? Why would we had several years ago? Of course, one of our first venture into the Octomores was the 6.1.
True.
Neither one of us was really blown away by it.
I think I expected even more, but you know what showed up afterward?
6.3.
Yes.
Yeah. Now 6.3, we both thought was
what's going on? That's a good
to
question.
The 6.1.
What is going on between like the 6.1 and the 6.3? Because the 6.1 was good, but when the 6.3 showed up, I was like blown away.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, it's mostly variant on the ppm that we're utilizing and maybe the cask as well. So it's going to range between all of those. So yeah.
Got it.
I get it. I totally get it. Some people are all about 6.1 or 1 series, if you will. And then others are like, the higher ppm, the more exploration of peat you can get, please sign me up. So it really depends on palate more than anything else.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point for you to bring up too. Because the 6.1, I was like, this is good. But then the 6.3 showed up and I was like, oh. We had a fan send a sample and I was like, oh, where is this? I got to go find this.
Let's just take a look here real quick.
Yeah. What do you got? Is that 6.3?
6.3 to the 8.3.
Yeah. What do you think of the 8.3? You liking it? I mean,
this is wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Definitely.
Very, very savory. I've got to compare and contrast. Okay. I thought you were only going to pour yourself.
They said they're drinking a 6.3 there.
No, I don't have a 6.3.
Yeah, so 6.3 to the 8.3.
You don't have the best one?
He doesn't have 6.3. You're going to have to just do a little trading action here.
Woo! Woo!
Matt will go out tomorrow and find the 6.3.
Yeah, Matt will be like, I got a case of it, dummies. I'll be like, what? He's like, yeah, I got a case, man. I'll be like, dang. Sorry, that's Matt.
Are the Octomores all ex-bourbon cask? Are there any of them that are wine cask finished?
Yeah, they do. It's not always a standard as far as the casks go, because the point of the Octomore is the exploration of the terroir where we're doing Scottish and Islay barley, but we're also doing with the time because it's a little bit longer than our other Port Charlotte and Classic Lottie and Islay barley Bruichladdich. but then they're also playing with the cast finishes too. So it's going to vary depending. There's not a consistent, like, this is the only one we do with 0.1s and 0.3s. It's going to vary according to it. So that's why, to answer that question of, 6.1 you thought was good, but 6.3 was a wow, that's them exploring. I mean, you're not always going to be, this is going to be the best every single time, because you're still playing with that whiskey until it's ready.
I love it. And this 8.3 actually feels a little, the flavor profile is slightly different, and it almost feels a little heavier than the 6.3, which is an odd, I don't know how to explain that, but it feels heavier.
What has been, so go left to right, Justin, Erica, and Matt. What's been your favorites of the Octomores?
Of the Octomores, I would say 7.1. 7.1's my top, or 7.4. 7.4 when that came out was fantastic. Yeah, that was Adam's first virgin oak that he made.
I picked up a bottle of that the other day. We had a tasting 2 nights ago, and you got to kind of look around in certain stores, and the more dust is usually a good sign sometimes.
Yes.
And sure enough, I found 1.74, and I was like, yes. So I showed up with it, and he was like, "Where'd you get that?" And I was like, "Oh, it was the last one. Sorry." But I would say 7.4 for me, and then I really love the new 8 series. I think it's just a really fabulous line in general. And I won't give too much away, but what Adam's doing in the future is even more exciting, I will say. I'm not everybody has their favorites, but he's doing a killer job with the Octomores and everything right now.
Just throwing it out again when the
I know, just a little teaser for the future.
Yeah, we need you on the show again. That's all I'm saying.
Just so you can have just a little dram or two.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
What about Matt? Matt, what's your favorite?
My favorite's the 8.3. I just love that it's 309 ppm. And it's a magical peated whiskey for me. I've had the 7.1, the 7.3, and the 6.1. I just think that the 8.3 is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
It's
This
just
is
keep
phenomenal.
going and going. That finish just takes 2-3 minutes. It's just a fantastic whiskey.
Beautiful.
I think the 6.3 is winning. Actually, I've gone back and
Really?
forth here.
I don't know. This 8.3 seems like it's like the heavy D coming in. Yeah. I don't know what the D means. Even. Just killing it. That's all I'm saying.
Most people know what the heavy D means.
Well, I don't think it's dirty. I don't think it. I thought it was like a rap reference, quite honestly. So I don't know.
I guess what the 9.3's phenol is going to be.
Oh, see, once again, all of you are coming back on the show.
Well, it's going to have to be higher. I'd say 3. Let's go 330.
Should we tell them?
No,
You should totally tell us.
Might scare him.
no, nobody's watching. Nobody's watching.
Yeah, nobody's watching.
Nobody's tuned in.
It's going back to 133.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Wow, it's taking a
Yep.
little
So
step.
kind of taking the opposite direction now, and we'll see what this one's going to be like next.
That's
I honestly, though, I got to say, I wonder. I mean, at some point, though, does it become so concentrated, it's indiscernible to the human palate?
not
Or
to
most
my
people.
palate, not to me and Matt.
I want to see
You're
what
the voice of God.
Ship you a thing of peat, you can just chew on it
chew on
like
some
fiber.
bricks of
Like
peat.
just
There you go.
me, Matt, and the voice of God be hanging out.
Yeah. Well, we're just going to chew on bricks of peat.
Boom! Now you're talking. All right. Should I give? It's almost not a good story now. But the Black Art 3.1. Now this is literally what introduces me to Bruichladdich. So
Holy crap.
Well,
it really does. Yeah, I happen to be in Dallas, of all things, Matt. I was at the Board Game Geek convention. I'm a huge board gamer. Some of you know that. I'm in Dallas.
Right.
oh.
All right. Aldi runs that website. And there's it's like 3,500 people are down there. And I have decided I'm going to run a little whiskey tasting at this board game event. Turned out there were like 58 people that wanted to get in, and they all brought a bottle. And a guy that I think he came out of Connecticut. He ran a company. I'm not sure exactly if he was from Connecticut, but he ran a company called Geek Chic, which sold these really, really crazy kitted out.
First of all, just say you met a guy.
No, you got to
You
get
met
this.
a guy down there and he's got a whiskey.
This is why your story
That's all
sucked.
you got to say.
Your story stuck because you're like, I met a guy and he said his name was Jim, and I'm like, that sucks, dude.
We're still going.
That's a terrible
What size
story.
of shoe was
That's
that
a
wearing?
well. First
Nobody
of all, he ran a great company.
Okay.
So a publisher from Jersey, Stephen Bonacore, says you got to go down. I can't even remember. I think it was Jason. You got to go see Jason at Geek Chic. He heard you're doing a whiskey thing, and he said you got to come to his booth at the expo. I rolled down there, and he's wearing like 1920s attire. It threw me off. And I said, hey, I'm running this like whiskey deal. He said, no, come back here. And I like got ushered behind the scenes. He pulls out, and I'd never seen it. He pulls out Black Art 3.1. I'm like, what the heck is that? A black bottle. He's like, I'm sorry, I don't have a glass. He pours it into like a plastic cup. Yeah. And I'm thinking a plastic cup. He's like, you've got to try this. He pours it in. I cup my hand over it a little bit. And he's like, you know what you're doing. I'm like, hello. Then I took a sip of it, and I immediately was like, this is good. Scott's going to love this. This was your whiskey. I mean, I was like, God dang. And that's why I went and bought the 4.1 as soon as I could. I couldn't even get the 3.1 anymore. Yeah, this guy had it. I was blown away. Boom. And that's what led me into Bruichladdich, the artisanship that's going on, not just with the black art, but all over the place. Phenomenal.
Yeah. That's
so I could have just said I met a guy named Jim. That's it. That's not much of a story.
At a convention, you met some guy. He said, "Try my whiskey," and you liked it.
You got to say board game convention's intriguing by itself.
There's definitely different ways of like telling stories that I've noticed like my whole life. You either have the people that tell you every detail, like the color of the shirt that they were wearing and all that, and then you have ones that just get right to the point. You're like, had some whiskey, met a
guy. Tuesday.
All you got.
Right. Now, hold on. No nonsense whiskey. He liked it.
See?
We got 4.99 pounds. He said, about time I caught one of these streams. Great stream dudes and dudettes. I added in the dudette.
Love it. I love it.
All right. Well, Matt, we know you've got a lot of folks there. We don't want to hog all your time, but could you do us a favor and pan the crowd?
Sure. Say hi to the crowd. Stand by.
And thank you, Matt.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for you guys. Appreciate it. All right. So
look at this. Look at that.
Now let's lock it on him.
So we'll start this way.
Here's the VIPs.
And this is William, actually the manager of Mirage. He decided to finally show up for an event for once in his life.
Oh, you're trashing him.
You're trash.
And this is Bob over here. He just became a Somm recently down at the Whiskey Vault.
Ooh, look at that.
Lots of people.
And there's a lot of people downstairs too. So
yeah.
They're downstairs. You need to tell them, get upstairs. You're on camera.
They said, come upstairs. You're on camera.
That's right. Do we have any board gamers in the house? Board gamers in the house.
This is the voice of God, by the way.
I'm the physical manifestation of the voice.
Wow, very impressive.
I summon thee to the upstairs.
Look at that. I love it. I love it. We're getting to see a little bit more whiskey there too. Well, thank you.
Oh, you want to see more whiskey? Oh, well, you know.
You guys have some good whiskeys coming up for you. They're going to be tasting the same thing that we just went through.
Love it. Great.
Let's wrap it up with Matt and Justin.
It worked. Here they come. The sheep are
Here they come.
Oh, here come more. Okay, some more showed up.
Yeah,
real quick. Hold on.
Voice of
Come
God.
up the stairs.
The voice of God called, and here they come.
It's like a damn lemurs up here.
There you go. Tell them they're on YouTube.
YouTubers.
Yeah.
That's right. Hold on. I think that guy in the back's on the witness protection program. He's like, get me off the YouTube.
All right. You guys are all live on YouTube. You're welcome.
Hey, that's Johnny there with his hands in his pockets.
Yeah. Oh, that's too
funny. Johnny's mad at me now.
Erica, Justin, thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Matt, you were awesome as well. You said, what do we need for the live stream? We said, here's a good mic. Here's a good camera. Then I said, you're going to have to bump up your internet a little bit.
And you did.
Quite fast enough.
You did.
Appreciate it, guys. It's been fantastic.
You're killing it now.
So,
thank you.
Erica and Justin, any closing? Give us some give closing words there about Remy Cointreau.
Here we go.
Bruichladdich, Westland.
Cointreau.
Good save.
Well, thank you for having us on. I'm glad you got to try some of our whiskey, Westland and Bruichladdich, and eventually we'll call it DHG. We'll hopefully come here to America. Maybe when that's available to us, we want to come back on and try again. But, to close us out, obviously, the big important things which you've kind of seen in the whiskey you've tried, the people, the terroir, and the time is what we value within Remy Cointreau. But great to have us on. It was great speaking with y'all, and hopefully we get to talk to you guys again.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. All right.
Gotcha.
Go ahead, Erica.
The crowds are getting restless. We must go. They're starting.
Yes, you will. Yeah.
They're getting closer.
We let them inside.
That's it. They're in. So Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Cheers to you guys. Enjoy another dram.
Thank you. See you guys. Cilantro.
Cilantro.
Please.